Hi, welcome to another episode of Silver Fox Scotland. It was FMQs today, but it was a very sort of muted, downhearted affair. And that's not surprising. In case you haven't heard, and I'm pretty sure you probably have, but in case you haven't heard, Christina McKelvey, an SNP, MSP, died, I believe, yesterday evening. She was 57. It was breast cancer, and, it's too young an age. And, party politics aside, there's a time and a place for party politics. This isn't it. It's cancer. We hate it. It's shit, and it shouldn't take people the way it does. So they sort of had a solemn FMQs, and you can understand that. So that's fine. Nobody was really going to go for it on that day. In fact, if you looked around, you could see quite a few people visibly upset. All parties, because even though, the opposition, you do have relationships with people, you do know them. So, there's a few shocked faces in there. And so, yes, I just hope her family, can put her to rest, mourn her, and move on. Anyway, the point of FMQs was that he was going to be asked questions, and he was. Swinney was there, and he was tackled, ironically, on the health service. And the figures showing how utterly bad it is. There was 2 reports out today, both of which basically are unacceptable. Because of the figures. Corridor care is becoming the norm, it seems. Swinney was forced to stand there and defend it. Go, it may have to happen from time to time because of the lack of resources that we've been given by Westminster. No, lies, not Westminster, mate. You. And why were you really answering these questions on the health service? And where the hell was your health minister again? And then, of course, there was the question of the Greater Glasgow and Clyde, as well as more GPs, moaning about the crisis, lack of funding and that. So, it was a very... how can I say this? If it was any other week, it would have been a very raucous, shouty affair. It wasn't. And I think he wasn't really held to account. But on the other hand, he didn't give any answers anyway. Audit Scotland has found that it's going backwards. It's missing every key metric, every target. It's not hitting any of them. That the staffing levels are getting worse. The waiting times are lengthening. And as I say, corridor care is becoming a norm. And then, of course, you're having the massive problems with the Greater Glasgow and Clyde, where the breakdown between management and staff is increasing, where the maintenance costs on the hospital is now so big at the QE that they're going to have to get emergency funding. This is because it was built so badly. They're having... All these things are having detrimental effects on patient care, and patients are now taking longer to recover from things than they should, but simply because they're failing to recover in hospital sufficiently because of all the stress that's going on and the lack of actual proper care. Now, with the QE-UH still being investigated under corporate homicide, yes, that's still a thing, and this isn't the Operation Copa. This is a separate investigation into corporate homicide. This was over the children's care. And they found the interim report that's come has shown disrespectful attitudes, poor teamwork, no inclusivity of people at various levels, negative impact on staff morale, a lack of basic care facilities, a lack of basic hygiene in some places, plus the possible effects that the building was signed off by engineering when it wasn't fully complete, had the wrong air ducting, the wrong water. All, of course, the fault of the SNP who commissioned it and signed it off. So it's going to be a very torrid time going forward. And so you've got 2 police investigations into corporate murder, basically, corporate homicide, both of which aimed at the SNP, one through Jean Freeman and Sturgeon, the Shipman sisters, over the 10,000 possible corporate homicides of the elderly. And then also this corporate homicide at the QE-UH with the children. It seems that there is no one that the SNP aren't prepared to kill, allegedly. But they crossed swords, but they crossed swords quietly. I felt it deserved more, but I understand the atmosphere. You couldn't just go in like that. It would have been very disrespectful, I think. Telling though that the health minister couldn't be bothered. We know that John Swinney is the de facto health minister, because no one else can do it. I mean, the real one sits in his office, locks the door and stims all day. Won't answer phone calls, doesn't like to be seen. Poor Neil, tap him on the head. No wonder he's going bald. It's all that stress, isn't it? Over-promoted. And seeing people die on his watch. What an absolute buffoon he is. There were a few other questions that came up, but nothing of major order. That was just that mainly that it was mainly a health. Really, it wasn't so much FMQs as health minister Qs. Neil Gray, what a man, what a guy, the legend that he is, dropping his boss in it like that. Nobody listens though, do they? Anyway, let me know what you think. Thanks very much. Take care. Goodbye.